I'm just outside Bercy bus station in the, I'd still say like maybe southwest, or no sorry, southeast, northeast, yeah, still in the metropolitan part of Paris, assortment 20, yeah. And I'm about to leave to get back to London in a couple of hours time. Departure time like 11 o'clock. If there was only a bus, I could have taken it, but unfortunately there's only like 2 buses a day, like either way. And they had to be a bit like strict on filling out the form. That you had to tell them that you're arriving at the Port of Dover, not Victoria Coach Station, and that you're using P&O ferries, not Flixbus. Because they just have an option, so they say, alright, what plane or what boat or what train did you take into England? But I mean, if you basically you drive your own car or you get on a bus, you probably either have to take the ferry, which is included in the cost of your bus ticket, or if you had your own vehicle, you could take the Eurotunnel. But I don't understand why the buses are not taking the Eurotunnel. So anyway, I've been in Paris now, let me think, Wednesday 8 o'clock, Thursday, yeah, for at least 72 hours now. And you may be thinking about asking me, Martin, was it really worth you cutting your trip short to West Africa and coming to Paris? I'm like, yes, it was. Because I knew down deep in my heart that, restrictions were going to happen again, even if it wasn't in my own country or not. It's just that I was supposed to get on a plane from Morocco to Paris next week. But then all of a sudden, Morocco closed its airspace to France like it did for my country and other European countries. And then look at what's happening in South Africa right now. I mean, all those Southern African nations you could visit in a matter of days, they're added to the list again. And I got lots of South African friends in this country of England who they won't be, going to Cape Town or Johannesburg for a certain period of time. And I feel for them a lot. And if you ask me, I kind of wish I had gone to South Africa instead of Senegal. I'm really glad that I got to Paris, because since I left 2 years ago, I told myself there are so many other things I wanted to vlog in Paris. I got Deleted done, I got Jim Morrison, I got Marcel Massou, I got Dollar September, I got Ernest Hemingway, the Beat Poets, saw most of the major sites. I saw more of those 2 cemeteries I went to, and also Bercy Cemetery, which I'd never been to in the past. And I can't really say I did have a good culinary experience myself. I didn't want to spend money on frogs, eggs, and snails. It's not my type of food. But I did say I avoided, dining at restaurants. I mean, on my first morning here, I bought a coffee and a crepe for €6. I thought it was worth it, okay. But then I just spent €8 on a Big Mac, fries, and a small drink, which I thought was pretty crap. And even though I'm a vegetarian, I just thought well, this is France. Forget about your vegetarianism and all. Just have some meat for once in your life. Because I've hardly had meat this year, not since the 14th of January, since COVID. So the thing was, if I was stuck in a country and there wasn't much vegetarian options, I'd rather eat meat rather than go hungry. But it's, if I was in an Anglophone nation where I could read the labels that could tell me if it had meat or not, I would stick to vegetarianism. Okay. Will I go back to Paris anytime soon? I doubt it. I've been to every country in Europe, and there's nothing that wants me to go back to another EU nation as soon as possible. My British passport doesn't expire until next year, but after June next year, I have to renew my passport, otherwise it won't be valid for entry into Schengen. I want to get to Austria in maybe the next 6 months or so before I have to renew my passport, because I would love to visit, Falco's grave in Vienna, and I've hardly seen much of Austria. And also there are direct flights from like Vienna to Yerevan in Armenia. That's a country I really love. So I'm kind of hoping I could get to Armenia sometime next year. But I mean, as I'm coming back into London tomorrow morning, I just tell myself, like, don't give yourself 6 months stuck inside the London circle. You don't want to do that. I mean, I don't know when I'll go outside of like London again until Christmas, but I mean, if another lockdown happens, I'll just abide by it, and I'll just have to wait until you're able to go outside of London and travel properly, because I mean, it can all happen again in a matter of time. Yeah. And also, I'm quite happy that I did go to the Gambia in Senegal this year, because it was my goal that I'd have my birthday in either North America or Africa. It happened in Africa this year. That's good. I can tick that off my list. Next year, I gotta make sure that I'm in North America or the Caribbean for my 37th birthday. I'm now on 88 nations, so you know it's a huge hurdle to try to get to like 100, and I literally don't know when I'm going to get to 89th and 90th nation. I would like to go to Aqaba in Jordan and Egypt in the next 30 days or so, but I'm pretty sure that I doubt that's going to happen again due to COVID. But it's been kind of like lucky since, you know, from like April to now in the United Kingdom, you've been able to go abroad, you've been able to visit other countries, you haven't had much restrictions. I've, you know, been working for the majority of that time. That's so weird, and so it's kind of funny how what happened 12 months ago it's likely going to happen again. But the last UK lockdown, in my opinion, just didn't last that long. I mean, it was only from late December when I last saw my good old buddy from South Africa, and then the whole lockdown things didn't end until April, and I didn't get to see her again until June. So that's kind of, it does hurt when you can't see good friends of mine. I mean, I haven't seen any of my cousins in this country in like 3 years. I mean, like, one lives on the Isle of Guernsey, the other one lives, you know, in like the East Midlands, and the other one lives all the way north in Scotland. And it kind of kills me how I haven't been able to see them. It's not really my fault, but I mean, I have been kind of lazy. I could have travelled up north to see these people. I'm kind of hoping next year that like I do leave England for a while after I've saved up a bit more money. I literally don't want to be traveling in Europe at all next year. I mean, just unless it's basically like transiting, you know, going from like Europe to Africa, Europe to Asia. Yeah, I just wanted next year to get to 100 nation, and yeah. So after, it'd be kind of funny because after I get to 100 nation, I'd be like, well, what am I going to do next? I mean, do I have to move somewhere else, or do I have to find a woman in my life, or do I have to, you know, move out of London? I guess it just depends. I've just been lucky for like the last couple of years, you know, keeping the same job and all this time, being able to travel. You got to remember, like, it's coming up 5 years since I came back to England from Australia after a break of 6 months, and you know, I've not been back to Australia in 5 years, and I swear in my heart that I don't want to get back until I'm at least 41. And you know, when I came to Dover on the 7th of December 5 years ago, you know, I was on 55 nations, and it really hurt me that I couldn't leave the UK for 11 months until November 2017. So you think about how, you know, in 1 year I went from like 55 to 62, then the following year I went from 62 to 80, in 2019 I went from like 80 to 86, and then last year I visited all nations because of all the idiots in the world who don't know how to cover their mouths when they're sick or stay at home when they're ill. I mean, yeah, you can blame COVID for many factors in your life, But then again, let's say even before the pandemic happened, alright, if you're in public and somebody coughed on you prior to all these things happening and you got sick and you had to take time off work, you'd be like, God damn, I would totally like, pull that person's ear for just coughing in my face and like covering the mouth in public, Yes. It's kind of a sad place around in Bercy. This is like the bus station. There's always people camping here. I can't think, are they refugees? Or are they just like homeless French people? It's hard to tell. But it's not really, I can't really say this is a pretty part of Paris, and I don't like spending a lot of time here. This is like my second time I've came to Bercy. In previous times I've just taken the bus from like London to Paris, and that's about it. But I did not come back to Paris for like 6 years, from like 2013 to 2019. I hardly saw anything in France except for Dunkirk and Lille, and that's about it. Dunkirk is quite special to me because my great uncle went missing there in World War II. So anyway, I'm gonna end this before I run out of memory. I'm just glad I'm using up the batteries and the memory of this flip camera. It's Mike the Metalhead coming to you from Paris. Love you heaps. Stay well. Over and out.